Jay, that's strangely close to Daniel Jones from the Giants. Daniel, is that you? Beat the Chiefs. Show me. If the Broncos and Russell Wilson can show me that they can beat the Chiefs, then I will start believing.
The crowd up. And so are this defense, and Kansas City won't snap the ball again. The Denver Broncos have beaten.
All right, that's enough. That's enough. That's enough. Here we go. Who needs an intro video when the draft is right here? Roger Goodell coming out onto the field. The pick is in. Will it be Shedeur Sanders? Travis Hunter. The best available? We will see. The Titans select Cam Ward. Whoa. No way. Of course, we all knew this was happening. Cam Ward to the Titans was a done deal a month ago. Why was Cam Ward so elevated above Shedeur Sanders? I'm not sure. If it was me, I would have selected Shedeur Sanders. And you might be saying, why? I will tell you why. Number one, I don't like either of these quarterbacks necessarily. I was so big on Jaden Daniels, and all of the people can vouch for me that have been here. I was pounding the table for Jaden Daniels. I knew he was going to be everything he was last year. Didn't really feel that same way about Caleb Williams. There are just quarterbacks you love, and there's quarterbacks you don't, and there's quarterbacks that if it was any other draft, he would have been the 7th quarterback selected. I mean, would Cam Ward have gone even above Michael Penix Jr.? I don't know. I mean, it's hard because we get our brains, we get so warped when we're in these very, these quarterback drafts where there's only one or two quarterbacks that you can justify going in the first round. All of a sudden, we're elevating people that normally would be third-round draft picks into the first. Now, I'm not saying Cam Ward is a third-round draft pick. I'm just saying he's not your clear-cut number one overall quarterback. He's not your Joe Burrow. He's not your Jaden Daniels. He's not these guys that you feel, at least to me, the way you want to feel when you select somebody number one overall. You just don't. And if you do, good on you. All right, and we will see. But the reason I would have gone Shedeur Sanders is because I don't feel necessarily like very great about any one of them, but at least Shedeur Sanders mentally, he cannot. I was explaining this to my trainer at the gym like an hour ago. I'm like, Shedeur Sanders cannot fail. He can't. Simply cannot happen. His name is too big. His father is Deion Sanders. You cannot be a bust. Okay? When you have made up your mind, and remember, quarterback is a game that is all in here. A large portion of the game is in here. Shedeur Sanders is exactly what you want when it comes to confidence at the position. The other thing is his quarterback coach is Tom Brady. I mean, he's going to have all of the resources at his disposal. He might not be great right away, but he's going to do whatever the hell it takes to make sure that he carries the Sanders name with dignity and pride. And just that alone, I would take Shedeur Sanders, number one overall, just because of that. Because I do believe there's other things, they say he doesn't have a great arm. They said Bo Nix didn't have a great arm, and he threw a 67-yard pass in air yards traveled. That was the longest throw since the NFL started tracking that stat. It was the longest since P.J. Watt in like 2012, 67 air yards. And the scout said that he had, all he does is check down, doesn't have a big arm. I'm sorry, like, you can either hit a curveball or you can't. You can either throw the ball 67 yards or you can't. Bo Nix can. So why they said that, your guess is as good as mine. You get paid millions of dollars to scout these players, and you can't even figure out whether somebody can throw the deep ball or not. I mean, to me, it's just silly. You got Brock Purdy going last and being better than Trey Lance, who the scouts all got together and basically said, yeah, this is the guy that should go number 2, number 3 overall. This guy couldn't even he couldn't even be a backup. He's so bad. So I don't know. Like, the scouts are so off. Right? Bo Nix was going to be a bust. And then turns out Bo Nix had the best season. Jaden Daniels better. Bo Nix, though, passing yards better than Caleb. Touchdowns better than Caleb. Completion percentage better than Caleb. Wins, double-digit wins on a roster that PFF projected to be the number 1 overall pick, and probably taking a quarterback because Bo Nix was such a bust. Look, everybody has these scouts that tell you exactly what they think, and then the general public just reinforces it. 90% of people said Denver reached when they selected Bo Nix. But why? Well, because that's what the media said. It's very, very hard to be original. And that's not just for us as the fans. It's the same thing for the coaches. Sean Payton calls it the NFL bust. He's like, that's the media train. And you don't ignore it completely. You pay attention to it a little bit, but you have to not let it drive you. Because if you're not careful, you will hop on that thing and you will be making your selections based on what these guys who we know don't know anything, more than you and I. I mean, sure, there might be a couple of really good scouts with a good track record, but still, a draft pick is a gamble. So you got to go to your convictions and do what you think is the right thing to do. I said all along that, in my opinion, oh my God, the Jaguars are selecting number 2 overall. That means the Cleveland Browns. Okay. I don't have the information yet, but the Jacksonville Jaguars have traded with the Cleveland Browns, and the pick is in. This has got to be Travis Hunter. I called Travis Hunter to the Jaguars. I think Liam Cohen is the best head coach in this cycle. Yep, over Ben Johnson. And Liam Cohen wasn't messing around. He wanted him some Travis Hunter. Here it comes. Roger Goodell. I'm honored to take a moment. Okay, PR. Come on, man. You're doing the Walter Payton Man of the Year right now? Come on, dude. It's read the room. You just had a massive trade for the 2nd overall pick, and you're going into an emotional speech. Get the hell out of here with that. Save it for the commercial break. All right, I think this is going to be Travis Hunter. I know that I'm probably behind a little bit, so I am terrified to look at the comments because the one thing I don't want is to be spoiled. I have to stream this like a pirate, if you get what I'm saying. So I know that I'm behind, but it feels fresh to me. Duval! Somebody tell Liam Cohen how to do a Duval. And for those of you who don't know, I'm actually from Duval. And, man, do I have that picture in here? I got the picture downstairs to prove it. I was on the Jaguars field last year, 50-yard line in the middle of a football game because as a veteran, they honored me there. And I was also stationed in my own hometown in NAS Jacks. It was a full circle moment. The flyover was my plane. Here we go. With the 2nd overall pick, Cleveland Browns have traded the 2nd overall pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Woo! And with the 2nd pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars select Travis Hunter. Yeah, got him. I got it. I called it. I can't wait to turn this into a short. I can't wait to go back. Oh, Travis Hunter's getting it. He's dancing. He's got a pink jacket on with the black, pink and black, uh, looking real sharp, looking fresh. Going to Duval, it's a great pick. It is a fucking fantastic pick. Travis Hunter was the most talented player in this draft, and he might be one of the most talented players the NFL has ever seen. He was a first team AP. I'm not even going to get into the credentials because you guys know who he is and you know what he's about. He wasn't just playing both ways, but it was the way that he did it. Steve Smith Sr., who I respect massively. I think he's one of the best wide receiver scouts out there. Former player, Hall of Famer. He said it's not going to work in the NFL because the NFL pays, I'm paraphrasing, but he said they pay masters. They don't pay people that are kind of really good. They pay people that are like obsessed with their. And I was like, I think Steve Smith is just saying, hey, being a wide receiver, a Hall of Fame wide receiver is not so easy. You're going to have to come in here a little more humble because you can't just casually be a wide receiver. And Steve Smith, he was a seventh, sixth round draft pick, right? He was drafted in the same round that Dwayne Jarrett out of USC was drafted. And he was like the number one wide receiver in the draft that year. So Steve Smith knows what it's like to be in the same wide receiver room as a guy that had all the intangibles, all of the hype, all the upside, all of the money, and Steve Smith had to earn it and earn it and earn it and study harder. He didn't have the size that other people had. He didn't have any of that. So Steve Smith had to just, with hard work and grit and dedication, do all of this on his own and become a Hall of Fame wide receiver. And because of that, that we are all people that are being molded by our experiences. That experience for Steve Smith, it molded him, and I'm just gonna say it. I think he's wrong on this one because unlike Steve Smith, Travis Hunter does have a lot of God-given natural talent. He clearly is different than other players in college football. I'm 30 years old. I've never seen anything like it in my lifetime. Travis Hunter, and I was saying this the other day, you have to play him on defense because he has arguably the best instincts in the NFL starting now. Because Travis Hunter's instincts are unreal, and that's where you want an instinctual player. You want him on defense. On the other side of the ball, he's too good of a receiver to not play him. I know it's going to rub the old heads the wrong way that this guy is coming in, playing both ways and doing it better than a lot of people, but that's what he is. The Jaguars did the right thing. They're going to use him. He is going to thrive. You got a quarterback that was one of those quarterbacks that I told you about earlier that was a can't miss quarterback in Trevor Lawrence. And it hasn't worked out outside of the 1 year where he won a playoff game. It hasn't worked out that well. So you've got to double down on that investment. You paid Trevor last year. I believe Trevor's going to work out, but you got a new coach. Uh, you got to get this thing in the right direction. And what better way to do it than to get Trevor Lawrence another wide receiver and one of this caliber? So now you got Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter on the same side, or on in the same wide receiver room. So this is an amazing pick. Jacksonville, I don't know the details. I don't know what they had to give up to get this, but it was worth it. I don't think they had to give a first round up, but we'll see. Because the the, the Jaguars were already picking at what, 5 or 4? So they only moved up a couple spots. But hey, that sometimes costs a lot of money. And think about it. If the Cleveland Browns wanted to draft the best defensive player in this draft, out of Penn State. I'm blanking on his name. Well, then they might have thought, hey, this is a no-brainer because we got confirmation that the Giants are picking Shedeur, which means that when we're on the clock at 5, as long as the Patriots don't pick, then we're going to have him anyway. So this was a great trade. The Giants, rest in peace, Bill. The Giants select Abdul Carter, and that right there is an amazing. This draft is literally changing generations between the seconds. Think about this. Abdul Carter goes to the Giants. A lot of people thought it was going to be Shedeur Sanders. Think about it. Cleveland moves it back to 5 because the Giants are picking Shedeur. The Patriots are going to get the best offensive tackle, and then we're going to get Abdul Carter. And why pick him at 2 when we can pick him at 5? Well, now that that's not even happening, all of a sudden the Giants don't have a quarterback. They decide to push the quarterback issue to next season or potentially trade back into the first round, depending on what happens with Shedeur. But now Cleveland, who I have been saying all offseason, why are no mock drafts projecting Shedeur Sanders to the Cleveland Browns? It makes no sense. The Cleveland Browns don't have a steady quarterback situation. The Deshaun Watson trade was a historical nightmare. It made the Russell Wilson one look a little bit better because it was more guaranteed money. So does Cleveland, are they in between a rock and a hard spot? Yeah, because they don't even have money to pivot. What do you have to do when you don't have money? You have to draft a rookie. Cleveland has to draft a rookie quarterback. They have no option. So I was always thrown off by the fact that nobody was picking the Cleveland Browns to go with Shedeur Sanders. I didn't get it. So now that Cleveland isn't going to be able to get Abdul Carter, it makes this whole dynamic very interesting. I want to mention one more thing. Nick Chubb, who got hurt, a terrible injury, terrible. He didn't really come back last season until like week 12, week 13, and maybe even later, and he was not the same. He had 1 year left on his contract, and the Browns are like, I don't even know if he's on the team right. Let me see really quick. Nick Chubb. Browns received major last-minute NFL draft warning. Kevin Stefanski. Cleveland Browns smiles as he watches Nick Chubb for a punt. That's the picture. Okay, here's the massive news. Bruce is not a fan of the quarterbacks in this year's draft class. Don't care. What does this have to do with the Browns? Here's the massive news. There's been some chatter that Cleveland could try to trade back into the first round for another quarterback, or that they just nab one with the second pick. So if Cleveland and the Giants or Cleveland and the Jaguars made a trade, don't think for a second that Cleveland didn't call the Giants and say, hey, are you guys taking a quarterback? They do talk. And if the Giants said, hey, we're not going to tell you what we're doing, but I'll tell you this. We're not taking a quarterback at number 2. Fair enough. We're gonna trade back. Okay? Possibly Cleveland is doing this to do one or two things. A, take Shedeur Sanders, makes sense, but nobody's thinking about Jeanty. Everybody had Jeanty going to the Raiders. Everyone had him going to the Bears. It just makes sense. It makes sense because we said it so many times. You know what? Jeanty to 2017 makes sense. Jeanty to the Chiefs makes sense. To the Broncos makes sense. To the Raiders, to the fucking Chargers makes sense. Jeanty could go to any team and it would make sense. But the one that makes the most sense to us is the one that the media told us over and over and over that he was going to go to that team. That doesn't mean it's going to happen. I think Jeanty could be picked by the Browns. Think about it. Nick Chubb's injury, I hate to say it, but he might not come back from that. There was a similar injury to Javonte Williams, and he's no longer on our team, and he had 2 years to show that he was back, and he never got back. Nick Chubb, younger-ish, he's like 30, 29 maybe, but he's got a lot of miles, man. Cleveland really leaned on him. There's a ton of miles on Nick Chubb. I think with the way the Browns are like, "Hey, let's just do what we did. We got Flacco back. Let's try to get back to the playoffs like we did with Flacco." How did we do that? We had the best defense in the NFL. Can we get to that level again? Well, if we're gonna go that route, we need to run the damn football, and we need to do it well. How do we do that? We draft Jeanty, or we hope and pray that Nick Chubb somehow gets back to the level that he was playing at. So, I think Cleveland is in a very unique situation. If they didn't get information from these other teams, then Cleveland might have said, if it's Abdul Carter that falls to us, we'll take him. If it's Jeanty, we'll take him. If it's Shedeur, we'll take him. They can do so many things right now, and it all makes sense. So now that we're at a commercial break, I'm going to take a look at this chat. Ginger with the super chat. What is up? We got Crafty. We got Daniel Berry Sports Highlights. We got Nick. We got Ginger, of course. We got KC. We got Embrace the Struggle. We, in spirit, have Phil. And Phil is loving this. Phil is loving this. We got 43 people in here right now, and I bet Bill is smiling and enjoying this draft. He's probably got one of his seltzers. He's probably having one of his pieces of his favorite pizza, sitting back, watching us in the stream. And I really do feel Bill's spirit tonight. But man, I'm really pumped up about this draft, guys, because unlike other drafts, this one is very, very unpredictable, and I think it's exciting when it's unpredictable like that. What did I do with? Oh, here it is. All right, we're back from commercial break. And Jinja, you didn't hear, but Rick started a job at a restaurant. So he's working right now. But we're gonna be doing a draft breakdown video as well. And Embrace Struggle said that bike riding though. Bike riding? He did. Fuck work. I know. I left work and I had to freaking haul ass to get here. I had no time. Like I went from the gym and straight here, and then straight into this. With the 4th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Patriots select Will Campbell. Right? Nobody screams and shouts for the offensive tackle, but this was the pick that made the most sense. And I think this is one that 9 out of 10 mock drafts got right. The Patriots got their quarterback in Drake May. They need to protect him. And how did they do it? They got the best offensive tackle in the game. And he was a left tackle at LSU. He's always been a left tackle. 6'5", 319 pounds. We started hearing stuff about his arm length. Now, he doesn't have long arms. It's so funny how, like, people will just be in love with this guy. This guy's the best, hands down. And then a month before the draft, some scout gets a hair up his ass for for his arm length. And then next thing you know, everybody's saying it. Uh, and then everybody starts to just believe it. Now, I'm not saying that his arm talent isn't an issue. I'm just not saying it is. I'm saying he's the best offensive tackle in this year's draft, and I feel like has done nothing up to this point to show that his arm length is an issue that he can't overcome. Uh, it wasn't even noticeable for a lot of people. I'm looking at his highlights right now, and if there's one word to put on this guy, it's nasty. He is nasty, and that's what you want. The offensive line it's a vibe, right? It is a whole energy. Your offensive line, those guys, man, they gotta be nasty. They gotta want to hit. You gotta pancake your defender and be looking for another guy. Running 10 yards upfield with your running back trying to hit somebody, driving people into the ground, breaking fingers. Like, these are your tough, nasty players. And, you know, if you just look at a player's trenches, offensive line, defensive line, usually if you just look at that matchup, whoever wins that matchup usually wins the game. Look at the Super Bowl team. Look at the Super Bowl. The Eagles dominated. The defensive line dominated the Chiefs offense. They didn't have a shot in that game. So as much as people are always more excited about the Travis Hunter pick, it is actually these type of picks that are not only necessary, but it is a requirement to make it deep in the playoffs. We've seen, I can count on one hand, atrocious offensive lines make it to the Super Bowl. Joe Burrow, I think, was like the first one I ever saw in my life. When Joe Burrow took the Bengals to the Super Bowl in 2021, which was crazy because Joe Burrow was drafted in 2020. He got hurt like week 8, and then the next season took his team to the Super Bowl, a team that had a terrible offensive line. And I think Joe Burrow is the best quarterback in the NFL right now. Mahomes has the accolades and the numbers and all of that. I get that, but I just observing the way the Chiefs offense and Mahomes looked last year, and I gotta say, going to the Broncos Bengals game week 17, like, there's something about seeing a player, like somebody that's at the top of their game, like could you imagine seeing Michael Jordan in his prime live right in front of you? There's something that happens to you. Those guys, man, are the guys on lunch break that are like, you're a fucking idiot. You think LeBron's better than you, right? But for people like me and my generation, I always say LeBron's the best player I ever seen. Jordan's the best player I ever heard of. Something happens when you see people live. I saw Joe Burrow live, and I was like, this guy is the best. Period. End of story. Um, and I would probably still rank Mahomes number one if I had to make a list. But if you're saying you got to go with one quarterback for one season, this one, 2025 season, I don't know who I'm picking over Joe Burrow. I have one quarterback for this year. Joe Burrow threw like 5,000 passing yards last year. So here we go. The pick is in. The Cleveland Browns select Mason Graham. Wow. This one surprised me because I saw a lot of mock drafts that had Mason Graham falling to like 12, 13, 14. And a lot of the people are like, I don't see Mason Graham falling that far. But I also didn't see him getting picked this high. But this is great, you guys, because for the Broncos and probably your team as well, you're starting to see that there's some players falling down the board here. There's some players falling down. Mason Graham, 6'3", just straight beast out of Minnesota. Somebody that is just going to be a problem. Somebody that's just one of these interior guys that just beats you, not with finesse, but with just brute strength and power. He's got the speed. He's got he's got it all, man. I'm trying to think of a comparison. Somebody that I could say, yeah, he reminds me of this guy. Um, man, uh, Reggie White. No, I'm just kidding. That's it's like, wow, you just went with the greatest, maybe arguably the greatest ever. Um, no, but man, just looking at him all last year at Michigan, he was somebody that you had to game plan for. He's somebody that you're going to be able to pair with Myles Garrett. And if you are going to rush Myles Garrett on the same side of Mason Graham, this is going to create a lot of mismatch problems. A lot of mismatch problems. So this is what we expected with Cleveland. Uh, it, you know, Jeanty could have happened, but if this is going to be their path, hey, let's just get back to the best defense in the NFL. That's what we had success with 2 years ago. This was the pick if that is going to be the strategy for the 2025 season. I'm just glad they didn't take Jeanty, but that means potentially here that Jeanty is going to be available for teams like the Raiders or the Bears. Um, I just really wanted him to go to the Broncos, but I know that that is a pipe dream. But I'm going to continue to hope. Jin just said this D lineman had ice like water. He must be a goddamn stud. And Jin just said, I like this spooky swag. Jin just said, ew, that's dirty. Liable to be a menace on the Browns. RB top 10 is crazy. Until you realize that Saquon Barkley was picked number 2 overall, and he single-handedly is the reason that the Eagles made it and won the Super Bowl. Actually, last year was probably the best year ever to make the argument that running backs are undervalued. Josh Jacobs, Saquon Barkley, and Derrick Henry. 3 of the top 5 running backs in the league leave their teams because they don't want to pay them. And look what happened to those teams. Look at the Titans drafting number 1 overall, a team that was constantly in the AFC Championship, AFC Divisional, winning their division, winning double-digit games. Right? Look at the Giants, number 2 overall. Right? Look at the Raiders; they're on the clock. It is like, and then look what happened to those other teams: the Ravens and the Packers. And the Eagles. The Raiders might take Shedeur right here. And if he's not ready to start right away, this is a great opportunity. You heard a lot of things. You heard at the ownership meeting that the Raiders owner said that his son said if he doesn't pick Jeanty that he's going to disown him. Was it a smokescreen with the 6th pick? The Las Vegas Raiders select Jeanty. It's all right. It's all right. It's not going to matter. I just feel bad for Jeanty because he could have, man, he could have gone to the right team and he would have been in great shape. But now he's with the Raiders and it's just not going to work out. Not a great franchise. Bad pick for the Raiders. Raider fans are like, dude, you were just running him. Yeah, but he's 5'8". He's too short. Dumb pick. Ginger says dumb pick. I like it. Now, there are a lot of people that are saying that Jeanty is generational talent. And there was 3 fumbles. So there is a little bit of a fumbling problem. But Jeanty, his ability to break tackles is crazy. Actually, the amount of yards that Jeanty has after contact makes him he has more yards after contact than the second leading rusher in college football. The number 1 rusher in college football last year was Jeanty. Number 2 was Jeanty after contact. I mean, it is honestly absurd, uh, what Jeanty did last year. And we will see. We'll see how it translates. The Broncos, I I think I think that they would have liked him to fall, but I'm surprised the Raiders are so dumb. I mean, the owner basically said we're taking Jeanty, and now that they picked him, it's like, wait a minute, you guys really that wasn't a smooth screen. You guys just told everybody what you're doing, but they got lucky. Nobody jumped in front of him. Nobody thought he was worth jumping in front. Um, this is gonna be this is gonna be the Chiefs, the Broncos, and the Chargers. Those are gonna be the teams that play him twice a year. Those are gonna be the teams tasked with stopping him. But I think my defense is one of the best in the league, so I'm not too worried about it. Plus, Jeanty, at Boise State, I don't like when people always use the argument like, "Oh, you haven't played anybody." His NFL comp is Emmitt Smith. They do run very similar. Just looking at the highlights, very, very similar running style. Nick, I don't like this, not gonna lie. Yeah, I'm kinda with you. Pete Carroll, he's like 90 years old, and he's like, "Let's start a rebuild." It's like, "Bro, you don't have time for a rebuild." The Raiders will find a way to screw it up. Damn, Ashton Jeanty's high school's going absolutely crazy. Alright, so let's see. Let's see, alright. So, if we're looking at prospect rank overall, Travis Hunter was number 1. Jeanty was number 2. Abdul Carter was 3. Mason Graham was 4. Cam Ward 5. Will Campbell 6. And all of those guys have been picked in the first 6 picks. So, I get all of my stuff from NFLDraftBuzz.com, but they nailed it. The top 6 players are off the board, and that was pretty damn close. So if this is going to continue to be that accurate, we're gonna see, T-Mac, the wide receiver out of Arizona, go shortly. We also got Armand, Mimbu, Kelvin Banks, offensive tackle, Matthew Golden, wide receiver out of Texas. These are some players that could be going here shortly. Linebackers available. Jalen Walker, the number one linebacker in the country. We got Jihad Campbell, the number two linebacker in the country. Let's see. The mock draft that was done had Cam Ward going number one, Travis Hunter going number two to the Browns, Abdul Carter going to the Giants, the Patriots taking Will Campbell, and then the Jags taking T-Mac. So, man. All right. So let's see. Let's look at the position rankings. Overall, so I'm just sorting it from overall players. All right, we still got Shedeur Sanders on the board, and this is a major domino. We got Josh Simmons, offensive tackle out of Ohio State. Tyler Warren is probably who the Bears are going to pick. You know, I said this before. Ben Johnson, he went from having T.J. Hawkinson to Sam Laporta, and I know they like Cole Kmet, but honestly, somebody like Tyler Warren, somebody that resembles Jeremy Shockey, should be coming off the board here soon. The Jets have selected Armand Mimbu, offensive tackle out of Missouri, and this is a good pick for the Jets. The Jets have an offensive line problem. They needed to get it fixed. This was the number 2 ranked offensive tackle in the draft. His tape reveals a tackle prospect with clear NFL traits. He has both promise and risk, a little bit of risk. All right. Let's start with his strengths. Bruce Fieldman's 2023 Freaks list, which, if you guys like are fans of this channel, you know that I love this list. Bruce Fieldman's Freaks list is like my favorite list because he always just nails it. He finds the most athletically gifted people in the country. And if you're on this list, you're automatically somebody that I'm like, okay, that I'm leaning towards drafting you just from that. Not many lists make me feel that way, but this one does. And this is what Bruce Fieldman wrote when he put him in his freaks list. At 6'3", 320 pounds, Mimbu has only 18% body fat, a very low number for a young offensive lineman that big. Mimbu also moves exceptionally well for that size. He had an electronic 10 yards, an electronic 10-yard time of 1.63, and his 20 was 2.80. And he also had a vertical jump 32 inches and squatted 600 pounds. So just his athletic capacity is like all pro, all decade, Hall of Fame type of athletic build, right? Masterful body control. To be able to do this kind of, to be able to jump that high and squat 600 pounds and run that fast, and I mean, you have to have this kind of body control to stay balanced and be able to stay balanced through contact and understand leverage points and pass protection. And all of this stuff demonstrates a guy that has high-end athletic traits and somebody that is going to be able to change directions smoothly. He's probably very close to being the best offensive tackle in this year's draft. So the two home run offensive tackles are off the clock now. But I think the two teams that went that route did the right thing, right? So the Panthers pick is in. A lot of people had T-Mac going to the Panthers, and I'm like, wait up, hold up, wait. The Panthers just drafted a receiver last year. Hold up, wait. Does anybody remember Xavier Legette? Legette? I mean, do they want to go two wide receivers here? Do they want to pair T-Mac up with Xavier Legette? Because after the benching of Bryce Young, the Panthers all of a sudden, and specifically Bryce Young, it wasn't just kind of good. He was awesome. He was throwing for over 300 yards every game. They were averaging like 28 points per game, or I think even 30s. The Panthers were a completely different team. And this is a very interesting thing because all of the upside that Bryce Young had when he was drafted, it was like after the rookie season, it was like CJ Stroud was the clear like number one overall if you did a redraft. But after the benching and everything, and I would still go CJ Stroud. But all I'm saying is last year, from after the benching of Bryce Young to the end of the season, you could make a case that Bryce Young was having the better season. So it's a tale of two seasons. Right now, the Panthers believe that they have their franchise quarterback, and it's like, well, let's lean into that and get him another serious receiver. And because of that, it, I would think that the Panthers would go that route. Right? Panthers defensively were not bad last year. Let me pull this up. The Panthers, they had Josie Jewell come over from the Broncos at linebacker. He made a big difference. But the one area where the Panthers were just terrible at was yards per game. They were giving up way too many yards per game. And when I say way too many, I mean the most in the NFL. So the Panthers gave up 404 yards per game. Okay. So I remember their defense being a little bit better than that. I know one area their their defense was holding their own. I can't remember if it was the passing defense or the rushing defense. I'm gonna look up uh, opponent yards, passing yards, opponent passing yards per game. And let's see, the Panthers, Carolina. No, Tennessee. I knew it was a really bad team that was blue that had a great passing. Tennessee had the number one passing defense last year. Isn't that weird? They only gave up 177 passing yards per game. Philadelphia was 2, Jets were 3, but Carolina was 25. So they could go anywhere with this pick. This is a true wild card. The Panthers select buffering. T-Mac. All right. So this is what I thought they would do. They decide to lean in to the success that they saw with Bryce Young and get another wide receiver. And also, they they, they wouldn't have had to do this arguably if they would have stayed with DJ Moore, but bygones, bygones. It's a new era. We got a young rookie quarterback or second year quarterback. We got a first year, technically second, but rookie, and then one, then two is how I'm counting it. A first year wide receiver in Xavier Legette, and now you have T-Mac on the other side. This offense is starting to come together. Now, running back, they signed Chuba Hubbard to another deal. Chuba Hubbard is arguably the most underrated running back in the NFL, arguably, because of how good he was. So, Jen just said, "Woo! Pulling up to her house now, boys, with the ginger luck. Don't need it. I'm smashing." Oh, Ginger's getting laid tonight. Hell yeah, Ginger. But T-Mac, his 50-50 ball is amazing. I mean, big catch radius, good hands. I like that he's catching the ball in his feet at the furthest point. There's a lot of big receivers that they have this big body, but they don't know how to use it, right? I played enough receiver in high school to even know that you always catch the ball at its highest point, whether it's here or its furthest point here. But you never want to be a passive receiver. You don't let the ball come to you. I'm not even talking about catching with your body, but it goes hand in hand because if you're letting the ball come to you, you are catching with your body. You always want to use your, and I'm only 5'11", but my wingspan is 6'3", so I have very long arms. So for a player that has long arms, use them to your advantage. You can get your arms, even if a guy's right on you, if he sticks his arms out, you stick yours out, you can get to the ball first if you know how to use them. There's so many wide receivers that are 6'5", 6'4", with these giant arms, and yet they play like they're 5'11". Quentin Johnson from TCU for the Chargers, great example. Watch his college tape. The number one gripe that you'll see is that he's not using his body, doesn't know how. It's like he hasn't grown into it or something. T-Mac is the opposite of that. He gets it. He knows how to use his body as an advantage. He has great body control, great hands, good 50-50 ball, good speed, great catch radius. He's just a great overall wide receiver that should work out in the NFL. It was one of the safer draft picks in this year's draft class. Wide receivers coming out of college are seemingly coming out better and better and better from guys like Jamar Chase, Justin Jefferson, these like wide receivers that just come into the league and then just take the league by storm. So great pick by the Panthers, uh, 8th overall pick, and I said it all week, all month. I said it to start the stream with Rick on Thursday, I believe it was. The first thing I said was, the New Orleans Saints are selecting Shedeur Sanders. And he was like, what? And here we are. The Saints are on the clock, and I believe Shedeur Sanders is going to be a New Orleans Saint, and I've triple, quadrupled down on it. And if this comes true, I am doing very well because I had T-Mac going to the Panthers. I had the Raiders with Jeanty. Obviously we all knew the Cam Ward. I had Will Campbell to the Patriots. I had Travis Hunter to the Jags. I just didn't have the Jags trading up, but I'm gonna count it. And now Shedeur Sanders to the Saints. Man, I'm batting very well right now. Very high batting percentage. The only one I didn't get so far, Mason Graham. Did not see that coming. The Mason Graham pick, it did throw me off because I was expecting him to be a high value pick in the middle of the first round. Somebody that had no business being available that somehow was. Last year, that guy was um, Florida State, Brendan Fitz, with the 9th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The New Orleans Saints select Calvin Banks. Oh, I gotta take the L. Damn it! Why? Why? If you're a Saints fan, you gotta be saying, why are we doing this? Why wouldn't we take Shedeur Sanders? Why? Give me one reason why we need a quarterback. Who cares? He works, he doesn't work. Who gives a shit? We needed somebody. This is a big L. You're drafting the offensive tackle to protect the quarterback that you don't have. The Saints. What are you doing? You got Shedeur Sanders. You wear the same colors psychologically. I'm just messing around, but seriously, like, how do you not draft Shedeur Sanders? It's a gift. He fell to you. You didn't have to trade up. He didn't go to the Giants. He didn't go to the Raiders. He could have gone to so many of these teams, yet he falls all the way to you, and you decide to go offensive tackle. This is, to me, the whiff of the night. I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is a superstar. I'm saying the Saints should have rolled the dice. That's what I'm saying. The Saints should have rolled the dice on Shedeur Sanders. That is not the move to go offensive tackle here. The Saints need a damn quarterback. Derek Carr, we just heard about his shoulder injury lingering. Look, Derek Carr's career is behind him. It is. He had a good start to the season last year. He lasted 3 games. I think Calvin Banks is amazing, and this is no disrespect to Calvin Banks, but the Saints just dropped the ball. I gotta think that they just don't like the personality, because it is not a personality that it's one that people either love or hate. There's people like that are like, there's nobody in the middle. You either really like them or you really don't. I can be in the middle, but 80-90% of people are like very opinionated one way or the other. I just gotta think. I can't think of another reason why the Saints don't take a chance with Shedeur Sanders all the way at pick 9, almost outside the top 10. They are dumb. If you're a Saints fan, you must be so deflated right now that your team just had an opportunity, because look, the Saints have been just not fun to watch. They just haven't been good. Sean Payton left. They got all this money that they just keep pushing it to the future, and they don't have the star talent, and their poor fans. They sell out the Superdome, a great home field. But if you would have drafted Shedeur just for the buzz the city would have gotten back, you got to know as an ownership what your team needs. The team needs that. You don't have to name him the starter. Just having him behind Derek Carr. Derek Carr inevitably is going to get injured. Or is going to come into the game. The amount of jersey sales, I don't get this one. Mickey Loomis, the general manager for the Saints, he 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 missed. He missed. And now the Bears are going to take Shedeur Sanders, and Caleb Williams is going to be his backup. Wow. I'm just kidding, but let's think about this, because we thought, at least me, if this did happen to Shedeur, the Giants are going to be that team that's going to come back up into the first round. But because Cleveland was able to move back and get the guy that they wanted, is it possible that Cleveland will take the draft capital that they received from the Jaguars to move back into the first round to select Shedeur Sanders? Now that would be the draft A+ of the night. If Cleveland took the capital that they got for moving back with the Jags, take what you got, throw in a fourth with whatever you receive, move back into the first round, get Shedeur Sanders, call it a night. All right, the Bears, Tyler Warren. It's Tyler Warren. It's Ben Johnson, Sam Laporta, TJ Hawkinson, and Tyler Warren. Here it comes. Oh man, another beach. Come on, I gotta pee. Sorry, somebody passed me. Look at that. It's in Green Bay. They were booing because it's the Bears, and as soon as they put up a player that passed away, the place goes silent. That's called class. I know half of you franchises don't know what that looks like, but that's called class. Take a note. Take a note and remember this, so when the NFL draft comes to your city, you don't act like a bunch of jackasses. All right. The Broncos are 10 picks away. Could they be moving up? I think they would trade with the 49ers if the Bears don't take Tyler Warren. Come on. Oh my gosh. Get on with it. Dude, if I'm a Bears fan, I'm like, holy crap, who did we pick? Thank you. With the 10th pick. And the booing starts again. See, that's class. The Bears select Colston Loveland over Tyler Warren. Wow. Tight end out of Michigan. I knew the Bears were going tight end here. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it. Ben Johnson wanted a tight end. Colston Loveland's the guy. I got to say, I'm a little surprised. I thought Tyler Warren would be the order that this would happen, but no. It is going to be Tyler Warren, who is the second. Tyler Warren on everybody's board was ahead of him, but not by much. Tyler Warren, he had a 87.9 scouting report. Colston Loveland had an 87.4. So Colston Loveland uh, being selected here. This is this is big. This is big for the Bears. Uh, this is big for Caleb Williams. Um, and I'm frozen, and I'm unfrozen. All right. Wow. Colston Loveland. Wow. 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 All right. So the Niners are going to be picking next. So far, the draft has not disappointed. Not at all. But man, let's look at Loveland for a second, who right now the shock is that Loveland was selected over Tyler Warren. Loveland, uh, 6'5", 248 pounds. Uh, not not bad. Exactly what you want size-wise out of a tight end. Exceptional athlete for the position. Plays like an oversized receiver, a nasty route runner who creates separation with sudden breaks, savvy timing, a dangerous seam threat with build-up speed to trench defenses vertically. Burned Washington for a 45-yard touchdown, showing his field stretching ability. quick processor who finds soft spots against zone coverage, versatile chess piece, can align anywhere on the field. He does have some weaknesses, and I will give them to you right now. Blocking technique and play strength remain work in progress. He can round off his breaks at times rather than making sharp cuts. Really? Because you just said he was an exceptional athlete that has a nasty route running capabilities with sudden breaks. Now you're saying that he rounds off his breaks? Which one is it? Does he round them off? Or does yeah, that I don't know. If you're gonna do a scouting strength and scouting weakness, you can't have them contradict each other because if he can do it, then you know he's capable of it. I think scouting weaknesses should always be the things that you don't know if he's capable of it because he hasn't shown it at all yet. So, um, the evolution of NFL offenses and an increased emphasis on move tight ends, like Travis Kelce, for example, makes Loveland an ideal fit for teams that are heavily utilizing 12 personnel packages, which the Bears are. His best role early will be as detached F tight end who can work from the slot while he develops the strength and technique needed to get that inline work. But this is mostly going to be a passing option for Caleb Williams. So now you have Loveland, Komet, DJ Moore, Rome Odunze, and um, wide receiver from the Chargers. I can see him, Keenan Allen. Um, really, like Caleb Williams, you have no excuse. You have to be the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards. You have to. There's no excuse at this point. Woo! All right. Thought I had. Oh, I had a fan up here, but I brought it downstairs. The 49ers select Michael Williams. Wow. All right. So Michael Williams, edge, 11th overall, coming off the board here. So this was somebody that Nick Bosa will have in on the other side, blitzing, getting after the pass rusher. There was a lot of different positions the 49ers could have done outside of running back and quarterback with Brock Purdy. But think about it. You have all of these players that are starting to leave. It almost feels like there's a new era. They lost their safety in Hufunga. They lost their linebacker in Dre Greenlaw. They lost their wide receiver to the Commanders. They have lost a lot this offseason. So where they went, it was anyone's guess. But it's going to be Michael Williams, the best edge in the draft, and the Cowboys pick is in. Hi. All right. So Michael Williams off the board. Now the Cowboys on the clock. Is it going to be Isaiah Bond, the second best? Some people think the first best wide receiver. We need, if you're a Cowboys fan, you have to have a threat on the other side of CeeDee Lamb. You're drawing way too much attention to him. I think this is going to be Isaiah Bond. Tyler Booker, guard Alabama. So they go on the offensive line here. And this one, a little surprising because Jerry Jones, known for the splashy draft picks, there's nothing more opposite than going guard. And that's what he does. So he goes guard, gets the offensive line, some help to protect Dak Prescott, who was dealing with injuries last season, didn't get to play all year. And Tyler Booker running up, and he is so pumped up. He is running, and man, he is fired up right now. High fives, running, and Cowboys go offensive line. All right. So we got to update our ticker. Update the ticker. And there we go. So let's take a look. Tyler Booker, the best guard in the draft, arguably. All right. You had Will Campbell, Membu, Armand Membo, and then Calvin Banks, all off the board. You had Tyler Booker, the top-ranked guard. You still had Josh Simmons, Gray Zabel, and Josh Connerly as higher-ranked offensive tackles, but Tyler Booker, the number one guard in this year's draft class. And Booker, just a very, very powerful guard. He can be a tick slow diagnosing complex blitz packages. He's got good height, but he can play too high in the run game and loses leverage. Shows concerning tendencies to lean and lunge in run game. Leads to balance issues. Footwork in run game needs refinement. So he's not a perfect prospect. Nobody is, rarely, but he does have devastating power on down blocks. He does have the intangibles that you're looking for, and he just needs coaching. He just needs coaching. He's got exceptional awareness, rare ability to process movement while maintaining the awareness of what's going on around him, elite arm length for an interior player, and he weaponizes that effectively. It's one thing to have it, it's another thing to know how to use it. Brings consistent violence as a puller, arrives with bad intentions, a nasty but intangible. That's an intangible. So, this is a good pick. This is a good pick for the Cowboys. Once again, there is some fine tuning that needs to be done. That is a coach's job to coach, and it'll be exciting to see. Thank you. All right. So, we got 13 picks in so far. Halfway done with the draft. We have no major shockers, I think, besides the Saints not taking Shedeur. And now the question is, where will Shedeur get drafted? And how do general managers actually feel about this guy? And think about this. The Colts, they know that, at least I would assume, they know that Anthony Richardson was a bust, right? So if the Dolphins pick, they're not going quarterback. They paid Tua. So the Colts are about to be on the clock, and Shedeur Sanders is going to be available. Is there any reason that the Colts should not draft Shedeur Sanders? Because we have the teams that we're like, they need a quarterback. But then we have these other teams that also need a quarterback. I would say there's 4, 5 tiers of needing a quarterback, all right? Tier 5, teams that simply don't. Justin Herbert, Hurts, Mahomes, Burrow, successful rookie quarterbacks, Daniels, Knicks. Then you got your tier above it, teams that have a quarterback that they're going to start, but we don't know how long. Last year, that was Kirk Cousins. We got Geno Smith. If Aaron Rodgers ends up on a team. And then above that, you have your teams that have a rookie quarterback, but it's not really working out. But maybe they should give them one more year. But did they really deserve another year? Probably not. That's where your Colts are, right? That's where your Steelers are right now. That's where your Giants are. Well, no. I would say the Giants are the tier above it. Obviously, you need a quarterback. You literally don't have a starting quarterback. The Giants are arguably in a better position than the Pittsburgh Steelers right now, right? Because the Steelers didn't keep Russ or Fields. They brought back the dude that got his helmet smashed over his head by Myles Garrett. I'm blanking on his name. Mason Rudolph. But, how far could Shedeur fall to the effing Steelers? Because if the Colts don't take him, and assuming nobody moves back up, because right now it's like, do the Giants move back up? Do the Jets move up? Remember, the Jets still have the quarterback out of Florida State last year who led them to an undefeated 13-0. So the Jets still have that as an option. Do the Saints move back up? I mean, they passed on them already, so this is getting really interesting here. The Dolphins pick is in. They're going to pick Tyler Warren. The Dolphins select Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle out of Michigan. Wow. All right, so now the Colts are on the clock. Omari and Hampton is available. We are 5 picks away from the Denver Broncos. Oh, man. Okay, I got to pee. I'll be right back. All right. It's time for the Colts. The Colts select Tyler Warren. What are you guys doing? You don't have a quarterback either. Oh, my God. I don't understand. Why is nobody you guys don't have a quarterback. What is your plan? Who's going to throw him the ball? No, Tyler Warren is a steal this late in the draft. This is this year's Brock Bowers. Man, this is getting interesting. Atlanta And he can pass. Tyler Warren is just a baller, dude. Seriously, like, look at his highlights. It's like he's going. I think he's going to be a Hall of Famer. If you had 5 players that were can't miss, Tyler Warren was one of them. And the Broncos deciding not to move up and be patient kind of pissing me off a little bit. How much would it have cost them to move up 5 spots and draft Tyler Warren? But it's all right. Coaches coach, players play, and fans bitch. So the Falcons are on the clock. The pick is not in with 4 minutes left. So what I like when the NFL would put team needs on the board as well. I'm not seeing that this year, but we got Atlanta, Arizona, and the Bengals. Where is Shedeur Sanders going to fall? I'm looking, and as we get later in the first round, these teams don't need a quarterback. I think the Rams are going to select them. He's going to sit behind and learn from Matthew Stafford, and he's going to be the starter in 2026. Right now, if there's no trade-ups, that's what the move is. The reality, though, and fans hate to hear this, but I'm gonna say it. Unfortunately, you have some GMs out there that are looking to the future, saying, "We don't want Shedeur Sanders this year and the next year when we're bad, and Archie Manning is on the board." And we're like, "Okay, so we wasted the Shedeur Sanders pick?" I think there's too many teams looking at next year's quarterback class, and that looks like a really good quarterback class. This year, there's like 2 quarterbacks that we are like not like crazy in love with, but next year, and I think they don't want to put themselves in a predicament, so they justify it, saying, "Oh, we'll give Anthony Richardson 1 more year to prove that he's not the guy, and if he does prove that, which we think he might, then we'll have a top pick, and then we'll get one of the quarterbacks that we think the top 5 next year are better than the best one in this draft." So this kind of stuff does happen. I gotta think that's playing a role for a couple teams. Tom Cruise on another Mission Impossible. Right, Mel Kiper's best available. Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Walker, linebacker, Will Johnson, Amarian Hampton, Josh Simmons. The Broncos are going to take Omari and Hampton. I'm not crazy in love with it, but I think I would rather them take Trey Hendrickson out of Ohio State. They just showed Shedeur Sanders standing around, look like family. It's always uncomfortable when they do that. Notable quarterback slides: Geno Smith, Jimmy Clausen, Brady Quinn, Aaron Rodgers, Brett Favre, Chad Pennington, Dan Marino went all the way to 18. Oh no, Mel ranked him 18. He went 27. Aaron Rodgers was 7th on Mel Kiper's draft board. All right, the pick is in for the Falcons. Nick said, damn it, why can't we have him? I know. I can't believe we took him at 5 and Sanders at 14 and had Sanders. The Falcons select Jalen Walker, linebacker out of Georgia. Best linebacker. Best linebacker in the country. There he goes, putting on the Atlanta Falcons hat. And Raheem Morris going to be his head coach. Jalen Walker. Is he related to Javon Walker, who also played at Georgia? Is that his brother? Wow, man. Jalen Walker is a freak. He's got crazy speed. And he's got a great motor. A great motor. This is gonna be interesting. Arizona, 5 minutes left. And if you're Shedeur Sanders, man, you're looking at the draft order and you're thinking, when am I going to get drafted? This is a big slide for Shedeur, and this is definitely going to be the story of the night. Now, if he doesn't get picked in the next 5 picks, this is going to get very interesting. Now, if you're the Seahawks, are you entertaining Shedeur Sanders? I mean, you got Sam Darnold, but is that something that you would entertain? Remember, Seattle, they've been in this situation before. I think they paid Matt Flynn, who had a decent season, kind of like Sam Darnold. They paid him a big contract. And then they drafted Russ to be his backup, and then Russ took his job. So, like, Seattle is not a team that would say, "Oh, we just paid this guy. We're not drafting him." We've been here before. Who are the Broncos? The Broncos should just trade back, honestly. The Broncos should trade with the Giants so the Giants can get Shedeur. And I think that's what the Broncos should do. I think they should trade out of the first round. I don't know if there's anybody that has fallen to the point where it's like, and who do the Cardinals have at running back? They drafted Trey Benson last year. And Trey Benson is a stud. And then they had another running back, an older one. Would they go with Amari and Hampton here? The Cardinals select Walter Nolan, offensive tackle. Defensive tackle. Would Denver get a no? They just extended Garrett Bowles. I really don't know what their move is here. So the Bengals are on the clock, then Seattle, then Tampa. Walter Nolan. First, I didn't see that. Man, and the Cardinals are pumped up about this. You can tell when it was their guy. This is who they were hoping would fall. The twitchiest defensive tackle in this year's draft. Booker saying his only problem is he didn't see it consistent enough. He's got a good motor, a day one starter for sure. And man, he is a beast. Just plows right through. Really good at splitting the gaps. Just a big time run stop. A really good run stopper. That's what the Cardinals elect to go with. And when you look at opponent, let's see, opponent rushing yards per game, the Cardinals were 20th, giving up 126 rushing yards per game. Carolina was dead last in the NFL. They gave up 180 rushing yards per game. That is like, it's like the worst I've ever seen. $180 rushing yards per game for an average. Seriously, how are the Panthers thinking of a wide receiver when they're giving up 180 rushing yards per game? They're like, don't worry, we'll get it in the second round. I think Shedeur's going to the Rams. This feels very similar to when Lamar Jackson fell to the Ravens. Very similar, right? Somebody with a ton of upside, Heisman Trophy winner, I believe. What pick was Lamar Jackson? Number 32, right? Yep. Lamar Jackson was the last pick in the draft. In the first round. Matthew Golden, still available. Matthew Golden, still available. Let's see. Running backs, best running backs available. Amarian Hampton, 87.3. Caleb Johnson, 86.4. Trayvon Hendrickson, 86 grade. Caleb Johnson, 86.4. Amarian Hampton, 87.3. I would want Trayvon Henderson just for the speed. It says he ran a 4.43, but I've seen 4.39 on different. Now the Bengals. Who's the Bengals running back? They got rid of their running back to the Texans, and they didn't really replace him. So I think Amari and Hampton to the Bengals. I think that's what's happening right here. Omari and Hampton. It's going to be with the 17th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft. The Cincinnati Bengals select Shamar Stewart, edge. All right. So we got edge starting to come off the board here. Wasn't there abrupt retirement from a Bengal? I really don't know why this year on ESPN the production value it got worse somehow. They're like, all right, if we're not gonna put a tragedy in their bio, then let's just not have it at all. It's like, no, there's a lot of good stuff we need, and it doesn't have to be about the player. Uh, free agent acquisitions in the offseason, biggest need, abrupt retirement. You're supposed to give like team information. I don't know why they're not doing that this year. Each team should have a little story. The Seahawks are on the clock. It should say sign Sam Darnold to 4-year, $100 million deal. Traded DK Metcalf. Like, I don't understand why they're just not giving any context for each team. Oh man, I can finally see the Denver Broncos in the on the screen. Pick 20. Seattle, Tampa, Denver. Omari and Hampton hasn't been picked. Seattle's not picking Omari and Hampton. They got they're set at running back. So Tampa Bay, they're good. The Broncos will have an opportunity to take Omari and Hampton, but this is such a heavy running back class. Is that what they would do? Who's the best tight end available right now? Harold Fannin Jr. Seattle's pick is him. So, Colston Loveland was ranked as an 87.4. The number 3 tight end's an 86.2, so not too far behind. The Seahawks are on the clock, and the pick is in. Let's see. Matthew Golden is still available. with the 18th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, Josh Simmons. Gray Zabel, guard, North Dakota State. And Sam Darnold says thank you. All right. Very nice mustache. This is a big boy. North Dakota State University. Those are some tough bitches. Damn. Look at that. He is literally driving players blindside the movie, blindside style, 15 yards upfield running with him while the running back's taking it to the house. All right, Tampa Bay on the clock. Tampa Bay don't need a running back, don't need a quarterback. Wide receiver is interesting because they have Chris Godwin coming back from injury. They extended him. They have Mike Evans, but do they want to plan for the future or do they want to win now? What is Tampa Bay's biggest weakness? What would you say Tampa Bay's biggest weakness is? They were third in the NFL at stopping the run last year. They gave up the third fewest amount of rushing yards. So rushing defense, solid. Passing defense, they were 30th. You got the best corner in this draft on the board. That's your pick. It's a no-brainer. I'm right about this, so I'm feeling very confident. It's either going to be Jahad Barron, Will Johnson, one of those two. But it's too bad Shedeur Sanders isn't on the board. Will Johnson is probably going to be the guy. Will Johnson's the NFL prototype. And the prototype is changing. Will Johnson represents the new wave. A rare combination of length and IQ. He's a 5-star recruit out of high school. He carved out his own legacy. This is a very interesting scouting report. So this is what it says. Legacy turned legend. That's the Will Johnson story at Michigan. Following his father Deion's footsteps to Ann Arbor, Johnson didn't just live up to the family name. He carved out his own legacy. A 5-star recruit out of Grassi, Posse. That's literally, it's spelled Grassi, like Tom Grassi. Grassi Point South. Johnson hit the ground running as the first 4-year starter in his high school's history before making an immediate impact for the Wolverines. His freshman year earned all-team All-American honors, but it was his sophomore season where he emerged as an elite defender, earning first-team All-American honors and powering Michigan's championship run as the defensive MVP of their national title victory. Johnson's junior year solidified his status as one of the best premier corners in college football, despite missing some time with turf toe, which isn't a major issue that might linger. He managed to snag 2 interceptions, returned both of them for a touchdown, while receiving second-team All-American honors. His consistency in big moments showed up over and over, from his game-changing kick at Washington in the national championship to his lockdown performance against Ohio State. It's a done deal. Will Johnson is going to be a Buck. Done deal. Ginger, Kyle's the guru in this bitch. I appreciate that. Have you guys had these? I'm not a sponsor. I'm not big enough to be a sponsor. I have like 3 people in here. 44 actually. But if you guys haven't eaten these, the next time you're at a gas station, buy them. I know you're gonna see that they're kind of pricey for a snack. Don't worry about it. Do it anyway. Buy these and try them. They're amazing. All right, now that we got that out of the way, uh, Will Johnson is about to become a Tampa Bay Buck. The Buccaneers pick is in, and I'm sure they didn't have to spend too much time. What if the Broncos put Will Johnson on the other side of Patrick Surtain? Woo! Could you imagine that? He's about to be a Steeler. Shedeur Sanders is going to be a Steeler, and that is why nobody has moved yet. Shedeur Sanders. Okay, I'm telling you right now, Tampa Bay, Will Johnson. Pittsburgh, Shedeur Sanders. Denver, no idea. But the 2, I got the sandwich. I got the bread right. All right. With the 19th pick in the 2025 draft, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select Emeka Egbuka. I'm wrong, and I should have went with my gut because the first thing I said was Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they're getting older. Do they want to plan for the future? And then I stopped and said, or do they want to win now? The passing defense is the biggest weakness on the team, and you got the best corner in the draft available. I would have thought they went that way, but this is very, very far from shocking when you look at the age and the injuries of Chris Godwin, that they want to continue to capitalize on the wide receivers that are available right now, because this guy could have gone. He could have very well not been available at this point in the draft. One of the best wide receivers in this class. And Tampa Bay simply said, well, he's too good to overlook. We're going to pass up the biggest team need to get somebody that is just too talented. And that is what this pick was for Tampa Bay. So now the Broncos are on the clock. And I expect them to trade back, but I haven't seen a lot of trades today. Denver could put the top corner on the other side, Riley Moss, Patrick Surtain, and then potentially Will Johnson. Here we go. It's time to build around Sam Howell. Oh, now my stream's messing up. Come on. Don't do this to me right now. Wow. 3 minutes in Denver still. The pick isn't in yet. This is interesting. Last year, Denver was on the clock, Boom, the pick was in immediately. 2 minutes. Pick is not in. Omari and Hampton incoming. I think they're trying to find a trade partner, saying, "Hey, are you sure you don't want Shedeur? Because the Steelers are about to pick him." Denver would be smart to call the Giants, to call the Browns, and say, "Before we pick, are you sure you don't want Shedeur? Because he's not going to get past the Steelers, and they're drafting next." So, um, wow. 1 minute and 50 seconds. Denver's pick is not in. Wow. 145. Tampa Bay, Will Sasso. They're going to pick John Elway. Or the Giants are going to and trade him to Denver. 1 minute, 9 seconds. The pick isn't in. They're 100% calling the Giants, calling the Jets, calling all of the teams. Hey, this is your last chance for Shedeur Sanders. He's getting picked right after us by the Steelers. Are you sure you don't want to give us the haul? A lot of running backs in this. The pick is him. All right. I was thinking Amari and Hampton. He is Mel Kiper's best available right now. Shedeur Sanders, that doesn't matter. Will Johnson and Omari and Hampton. I mean, those are the two that I was saying would be crazy. If you could pair Will Johnson with Surtain, with adding Dre Greenlaw and Hufanga, and then you add in the fact that they have Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper and Zach Allen, they were already the second best defense in the NFL last year. Imagine adding another lockdown corner. I mean, there's a lot of different routes they can take right now. And that's kind of what makes this so interesting. Could they take a wide receiver? Matthew Golden. Mel Kiper just said, "I'm so surprised he's still here at this point in the draft." What? They just showed that little person, the famous one? Never mind. We signed Evan Ingram, so we're good on tight end. Marvin Mims broke out. Cortland Sutton's still a dog. We need a wide receiver. We drafted Troy Franklin last year, but we need another great wide receiver. Wide receiver, running back. Those are like the two biggest needs. Here we go. Let's go, Broncos. With the 20th pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, the Denver Broncos select Jahdae Barron, DB Texas. This is exactly what I thought they would do. The rich get richer. The strengths. Denver leans into the strengths. It's a big, big running back heavy draft class. So instead of getting Omari and Hampton here, they say, let's grab what we believe is because this is who Denver believed was the best DB in the draft because they had the other one available as well, Will Johnson out of Michigan. So Denver said, this is the guy that we think is the best DB in this year's class. How often can you sit at 20 and get the number one player of that position? And Denver just did it. So this is what they're going to do. They're going to have him on the other side of Surtain. If you watched the Bengal game, I was there live. Denver was getting eaten up on the other side of the field. Surtain's on this side, and you had Riley Moss on the other side, and T. Higgins was eating his lunch the entire game. Denver was like, we can't have this. We can't be that vulnerable on one side and have the defensive player of the year on the other. We need to make Surtain more of a factor in the game by giving him more opportunities. And how do we do that? Well, we got to make it tough to throw it on the other side of the field as well. And Denver's doing that. I personally love this pick. A top DB. I actually, last year, I was like wanting Terrion Arnold, who was the best DB in that class. And my philosophy was the same as this year. I was like, imagine having Terrion Arnold and Surtain. Imagine having two shutdown corners. That's scary when you think about the pieces that they already added. This defense is going to be, I think, the best in the NFL starting now. Sutton. Oh, Nick, huh? God, wild. No, Riley Moss isn't out. Denver runs a with a nickel package, so they utilize 4 DBs. So, and Riley Moss is a nickel corner, and they're gonna put Jihadi. I gotta learn this dude's name. They're gonna put him on the other side of Surtain, and then you're gonna have probably him and um, McMillan are gonna be your 2 nickels. And the Steelers are about to pick Shedeur Sanders. Here it comes. Here it comes. Yeah, nobody. Nick, I don't think anybody was thinking DB when they were looking at the Broncos. And Sean, like always, didn't let it slip. Keeps the cards close to the chest. A lot of smoke screens. Let's see what the Steelers do. The Steelers select Derek Harmon. I was so confident that Shedeur Sanders was going to finally get drafted right here by the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is wild. So no Shedeur Sanders, and all of a sudden, if nobody moves up back into the first round, Browns, Anybody that needs a quarterback or has a bridge quarterback, the Saints, if nobody does it, we're talking about Shedeur Sanders falling out of the first round. And what's interesting is the Vikings in 2 picks, okay? The Vikings decided to move off of Sam Darnold. They said, no, we don't want Aaron Rodgers to come in for a visit. Why? Because we're giving the keys to the young quarterback out of Michigan who hasn't started a single game for us. And we feel really good about it. But how good? What about competition? Would they draft Shedeur Sanders? Is that possible? Is it possible? This is really crazy right now. I mean, how confident are the Vikings in JJ McCarthy where they wouldn't even entertain drafting Shedeur Sanders and bringing in competition? That's another low-key possibility that nobody's talking about, but I don't know. Does it send the right message to JJ McCarthy? I mean, does JJ, they know his personality. Can he handle it? Will it make him better? There's a lot of things to kind of weigh out, but I think the Vikings are like your last ditch. If there's nobody else, the Chargers, the Packers, the Commanders, the Chiefs, the Bills, the Ravens, none of these guys are taking a quarterback. So it's Vikings, somebody trading back, or Shedeur Sanders is a second-round draft pick. I think the most likely thing is that somebody will trade back, but they will trade back, and it'll be the 32nd pick. This is exactly what happened to Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson was selected with the 32nd pick. I believe 32nd pick. He was the last pick of the first round, and the Ravens traded back into the first round to get him. Denver Broncos. Welcome to Broncos country. This is, let me see. Save image. Let's pull this up. Let's see. Jahadi Barron. Jahadi Barron. Here we go. Jahadi.
They're down in 3. As that never had a chance. It was Barron again. He had the interception moments ago, and now the tackle for loss on 3rd down. That's the time you couldn't get free.
Yeah, great physical play, too. Jordan Anthony at 5'10", 162 is trying to block him out here one-on-one. He just can't get that done.
Braden Fowler Nicolosi off his back foot downfield, and it is intercepted. Jahadi Barron the takeaway. Up the sideline, and out of bounds, shy of the 40.
4-man rush. Klubnik passes in traffic, incomplete.
Jahadi Barron this season. Watch him in coverage here work.
That was a great closing speed. I shouldn't have.
To the slant. Whoa, what a hit. Incomplete. Johnny Barron just absolutely
look at those
wrapped up
hands.
Low at Funjo.
It's the hand in there.
This did not look like much
ball
fun.
out.
See if Texas brings pressure. Now they rush for ball out quickly, and it's juggled and intercepted. Second.
Dominion just went for 9 yards. Green on 2nd and 1. That ball is intercepted. That's Shedeur.
That's one thing. We haven't been getting a ton of interceptions.
See, this is a catch that Bro.
He's gonna
Brings
go
some
for the
pressure
ball.
against back, who stands and delivers on the sideline. It's intercepted. Picked up by Barron. Cuts back. Johnny Barron still alive.
Ooh, I like the cutback.
Frazier in the spell and in the red zone, trying to build on this lead. Frazier takes the pitch. Ethan Burke was
Got into the business as well, so we wish the best for
Colt
McCoy.
Hands up, ball down.
goes down as a short sack behind the sticks on 2nd down. And now a slant, dangerous play, kind of jumped around.
Good job at
Texas brings pressure. Stockton backpedaling, throws it, and throws right to Texas.
Man. That
Intercepted
was too easy. Who's here after the Broncos drafted him? No Fly Zone 2.0. Welcome to Denver. Let's get this ring. Welcome to Broncos country. You, sir, are now part of Broncos country. How are we feeling, Broncos country? What a curveball. Let's go, Broncos. The no-fly zone is back. Welcome to Broncos country. Pumped. They didn't expect a cornerback pick for the Broncos, but when you look at the Broncos team deeply, it's actually a good pick. Surtain and Barron going to be the best cornerback duo in the league. And Moss, Super Bowl bound. Broncos country, I knew I'd see you here. This is 100% GB's Garrett GB's calling card. Welcome to the Bucks. Welcome to the Cardinals. Here after the Broncos picked him. Let's ride. I see the vision. Him and Surtain next to each other, going to be insane. Love the pick. But we must move on. All right. The Chargers are on the clock with 5 seconds left, and the pick isn't in. So I'm assuming this is just going to run all the way out. The Broncos picked at 20, so I missed one pick. Who was 21? The Chargers pick is in. The Chargers should get Shedeur Sanders so they have a good backup for when Justin Herbert inevitably gets hurt. My God, she has the weekend on already. Freaking hell of a night, boys. That's hilarious. That comment wins. All the teams that need a quarterback that aren't taking the quarterback are gambling. Point blank. It's exactly what's happening right now. They're saying, we don't need to spend a top 15 pick on a quarterback that we think is going to be there later. But Sean said it best last year. When Denver drafted Bo Nix, everybody said it was a reach. And Sean said in an interview with Kay Adams a month before the draft, if we like one of these quarterbacks, I'm unconcerned where people think we should draft him. In the grand scheme of things, what's an extra second-round pick when I could draft a quarterback where I want to that will get us to double-digit wins and back to the playoffs for the first time in a decade? We're going to gamble that? No. I know they're trying to dress it up and say, no, those teams that needed a quarterback are just gambling. No. They're either dumb or they don't like Sanders. With the 22nd pick, the Chargers select Omari and Hampton. Yep. This is very interesting because they just brought in Najee Harris on a deal, and I thought Najee Harris was going to be a 1,000-yard rusher. I saw the vision, and now they bring in Omari and Hampton, and you have a real 1-2 punch. You have veteran leadership with Najee Harris. You drafted the offensive line. You brought in a philosophy of coaches for Jim Harbaugh, who was, scheming based on coaches. This is what we're going to do. We're going to run the football down your throat. And guess what? He took Gus Edwards and the other, J.K. Dobbins, 2 running backs that nobody wanted, and he had one of them averaging 8 yards per carry. And imagine what he's going to do with Najee Harris and Omari and Hampton. The Chargers are going to be a running football team, and with Justin Herbert, they have the ability to pass. The Chargers make a really solid pick right here. And this is kind of a double whammy for the Broncos because Denver decides to go defense, but now a division rival picks up the running back that they could have drafted. And every time this guy scores a touchdown against us, all the fans are going to be, wow, the guy that we could have picked is burning us. Hopefully that's not the case, but I can see. And the Go Pack Go chance it started because the Green Bay Packers are on the clock. Here we go. The Green Bay Packers are on the clock. Will this be the year that the Packers and Jordan Love take a step forward and make it to the playoffs? This is going to be interesting. Will the Packers, I think they need a receiver. I think they should draft Golden. Will Johnson, Golden. One of those two. This Green Bay always drafts the wrong guy, and that's just their style. But they need to. Did Matthew Golden get picked at 21? Because that's the only one I missed. No, Derek. No. Yeah, because I thought the Steelers were going to pick him. The Packers pick should be Matthew Golden right here. This should be the pick. Matthew Golden should be the pick. Matthew Golden should be the pick right here. The Packers select Tom Grossi, podcaster, Grossi Posse. Listen to these Go Pack Go chants raining down. It's funny how, like, the beginning of the draft is the draft order is strength of record. So the worst team drafts first overall. But then when you get into the later round, the later picks, you got the Commanders picking who won 12 games after the Lions, who won 15 games because of playoff seeding. It's interesting, right? It's like it's based on record until you get to the playoffs, it seems like, and then all of a sudden it's based on playoff seeding and how far you went in the postseason. Matthew Golden, Nick Amanawari. What's it going to be? This is interesting now because you talk about teams that might be willing to trade back up and select Shedeur Sanders, but there's also some really good players on the board, and the Packers have to weigh getting an extra second-round pick versus getting a superstar that shouldn't be available that's available right now. I I I think this is gonna be Matthew Golden, but I'm wrong about the Packers pick consistently. Not me, everybody is. I love Grassi for bringing me here. Love that. What's it gonna be? What's it gonna be, Green Bay? 23 overall, the Green Bay Packers. Man, there's a lot of people here. There is a ton of Packer fans. This is the biggest event half of these people have ever attended in their life. Okay, it's off topic, but which DB from last season is out in Denver? Um, whoever kept getting freaking burned by Jerry Jeudy in the Cleveland game. Him. But he was only in because of Riley Moss. I think Denver's gonna roll with 4 DBs. Um, so I think they keep 5 on the roster. So I think there's gonna be Jaquan McMillan, Riley Moss, Surtain, and then the guy they just drafted. And so Jaquan McMillan, Riley Moss, Surtain. I feel like I'm forgetting somebody. The guy they just drafted, and then I think that's it. You gotta have 5 for depth, but I think those are your 4. The Packers are gonna take Josh Simmons. McMillan or Moss is gonna see the field. Oh, out of them 2, I think probably McMillan, but OTAs, I would say right now, it's not settled. There's gonna be a off-season battle, and that's gonna be one of the main things we're looking at, but I would probably lean towards Riley because they drafted him higher, and he played a lot of good football for us last year. But I think Denver's defense that they run utilizes 4 safeties. I mean, 4 defensive backs. But you gotta keep in mind, Denver made this draft pick. There had to be a vision, and that vision, I don't think included kicking out a good player. So, we'll see. Green Bay just flexed their giant wiener on the whole NFL. The general manager for the Packers just said, "Out of curiosity, how many of you are owners?" And they all screamed because the fans own the team. They don't have an owner. With the 23rd pick in the 2025 draft, the 13-time world champion Green Bay Packers, for the first time since 2002, draft the wide receiver Matthew Golden. Called it! Called it! Called it! Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! Go, Pack, go! Look at that. We're brothers. Packers, Broncos, both taking Texas players. Matthew Golden to the Packers. Amazing pick. The Packers needed it. Absolutely needed it. And as the Go Pack Go chants rain down, the Packer fans are filled with euphoria, knowing that the general manager finally did what the fans knew the Packers needed. Many years have passed with the Packers needing a real weapon on offense, and they end up getting a D lineman or a safety or something, and you're like, okay, or a linebacker. Not this year. Matthew Golden falling down in the draft. It was too much value for the Packers to pass up at a position that they needed. It's a great pick for the Green Bay Packers. Man. Imagine your last name is Golden and you go take your yellow and goldish jersey in the front of 100,000 Packer fans, and you were just drafted to that team. I mean, this is like by far the most special moment of the night. This is amazing to watch. He's addressing the crowd right now. I love it. I love it. How cool was that moment? What a At Texas, you stepped up late when the lights were brightest. That's what you should expect from me. I'm a reliable target. I get open anywhere on the field. I'm bringing that dog mentality. Know that. Jordan Love says, I love it. I love it. This is exactly what the Packers needed. 5'11", 191 pounds. But look at him at Houston. Just amazing ball tracking ability. He constantly just flies past DBs. He just outruns them. Contested catches, no problem. A lot of contested catches, tight coverage, yet he comes down with the ball. Look at that. Really quick feet, stop on a dime, create separation. Inside receiver, he can play outside. Great, honestly, elite route running ability, high points the ball. I think this is the best wide receiver in the draft for an all-around wide receiver. My favorite wide receiver in this year's draft is Luther Burden, and Luther Burden is still on the clock, and I think I am way higher on Luther Burden than 90% of people. Um, I think Luther Burden is going to be a superstar. Um, whoever drafts Luther Burden at this point is getting a steal. Very similar to Justin Jefferson when he fell all the way down. With the 24th pick, the Vikings select the Minnesota Vikings. Select Minnesota Vikings. Donovan Jackson. Roger Goodell just said the Minnesota Vikings select the Minnesota Vikings. Donovan Jackson, guard. Look at the Viking fans pretending to be super hyped about their guard. Yeah, we got a guard. Woo! Love it. I love a guard. God, we got a guard. Yes. So cool. We got a guard. You know we're playing the guards, right? Who are we going to kiss? The guards. Gotcha. There was just a trade. The Giants are picking Shedeur Sanders. The Giants are selecting Shedeur Sanders. So the Giants are patient and it pays off. They are able to trade back into the first round and select Shedeur Sanders. Watch him pick Jackson Dart. Watch them pick Jackson Dart. Wow. Watch him pick Jackson Dart here. Shedeur Sanders. It doesn't look like they just got picked. It looks like they oh my god, are they picking Jackson Dart? They look a lot happier. Jackson Dart looks a lot happier. This is hilarious. They're gonna pick Jackson Dart. Oh, oh my god. They picked Jackson Dart. Oh, oh my god. No way. Oh my. They said, which one could it be? And they oh my god. They pan the camera to Deion Sanders and he looks pissed. And then they go to Jackson Dart and he's hugging his family and they're all smiling and high-fiving. Jackson Dart over Deion Sanders. Wow. Oh my god. This is crazy. Wow. Wow. I man, I like Jalen Milroe a lot too, but it's definitely Dart. Wow. Oh my God. I cannot believe this. Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders at pick 25. Ye- Man, this is why the NFL draft is awesome. Right here. This is it. No matter how hard we prepare, there's what they think they'll do, they're what we think we'll do, they're what they want to do. It's all different. What they think they should do, what we think they should do. And man, the Giants must have brought in, they brought Shedeur Sanders in for a visit. And I said this on the podcast the day that happened. I said, I don't think the Giants brought Shedeur in for a visit to select him at number 2 overall. I think they brought him in for a visit to trade back later in the first round and select him. And that's all spot on, except for the Shedeur Sanders part. Wow. Wow. This is crazy. I would have drafted Milrow over Dart, but man, the 2024 Big 12 Offensive Player of the Year still available. And then you saw Travis Hunter. You saw his buddy go number 2 overall. Man, this has gotta be a rough night for Shedeur. This is a different type of slide than anybody predicted. Here we go. Jackson Dart, quarterback, Mississippi. Wow. 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 Damn, they look rich as hell. What kind of room are they in right now? It looks like a mansion. Wow. The Rams, I had the Rams getting Shedeur Sanders. This is it. The Rams are picking Shedeur Sanders right here. Los Angeles. Oh no, Atlanta's on the clock. The Rams traded the pick. I really thought Sean McVay with Stafford leaving. Man. So Atlanta, I'm confused. Why were the Rams on why were the Rams on the clock? This reminds me of a Drew Lock draft pick. All right. The third Ole Miss quarterback selected in the first round, Archie Manning, Eli Manning. That's great company to be in. Jackson Dart joins those two. Same traits Josh Allen had. Dable sees traits in Dart he saw in Josh Allen. Wow. That's elite company. All right. Oh, wow. It's 10. I was supposed to wrap this up at 10 o'clock. I'm having dinner tonight with my girlfriend. But what a wild first round. I'm going to have to come back on here tomorrow or Saturday and break it all down. A lot of obviously there's a ton to discuss. One of these teams is going to eventually draft Shedeur Sanders, and no, it did not happen the way that we saw it fit. The Falcons pick is in, then it's the Ravens, then Detroit, Commanders, the Eagles, the Chiefs. None of these teams are going quarterback, but any of them could trade up. I'll give you the Falcons. The Rams traded it to the Falcons, and with that pick, the Falcons select James Pierce Jr., defensive end out of Tennessee. All right, so Atlanta loading up on the defensive side of the ball with 2 picks in the first round. And now the Ravens are on the clock with Detroit in the batter box, Washington, and then you got what? Buffalo, Kansas City, and Philly. So the Falcons received the 26th overall pick and the 3rd round pick. The Rams received the 2nd round pick, a 7th round pick, and a 1st round pick next year. What? The Falcons gave up next year's 1st round draft pick to select this guy. The Rams fleeced the Falcons. Absolutely fleeced them. That's crazy. They just gave up next year's 1st round pick. I'm blown away by what they just gave up. That's crazy. Damn. This late in the 1st round, and you gave up a 1st rounder? You could have given them a 2nd and a 3rd, a 2nd and a 4th? Shit. A 2nd and a 5th, an extra 2nd and an extra 5th. I would be like a 2nd and a 3rd. I need an extra 2nd and an extra 3rd if you want to move up. Damn, Atlanta just gave up next year's 1st round pick for James Pierce Jr. That is, to me, shocking. But I'm going to have the breakdown for you guys. No, they took Josh Pierce Jr. The Giants taking Jackson Dart. The Shedeur Sanders slide to nowhere land. The Broncos go DB. The Packers draft a wide receiver in the first round for the first time since 2002. And the Jacksonville Jaguars move up to number 2 to get Travis Hunter. All of this will be broken down tomorrow in another video, or Saturday. I'm going to try to do tomorrow. It's a lot to break down, but thank you guys for joining me for the first round of the draft. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you liked it. Please like the stream on your way out. It helps me a ton if you give it a thumbs up. I can't wait to see you guys in the next stream, and I just want to say it means the world that with all of the other podcasters and better production, better production value at ESPN, and the people that decided to watch it with me, just know that it means the world to me. I can't wait to see you guys in the next episode. Peace out. Go Broncos. We got the best defensive backfield in the world. We are Fly Zone 2.0 going back to the Super Bowl. You already know Super Bowl 50 is going to be back in Santa Clara. Last time it was there, the Broncos beat the shit out of Cam Newton and the Panthers. History repeating itself right here in the Only Football Podcast. Rest in peace. Live forever. Bill, I hope you're happy with your Giants. We're smiling at you. I hope you're smiling at us. Love you guys.